whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it. Yo, what's good with y'all boys? It's Kyle on the track here. Today we better be ranking the Spider-Man movies from worst to best, and this is including Venom and the Venom movies, and then also Across the Spider-Verse too. I really enjoy all of these movies, really, although a lot of them are not like great films. So yeah, coming in at last place at number 12, you got Venom. One of I'd say the biggest plus to me in this movie is just Tom Hardy. I think that like you know how Topher Grace, they had him like a long time ago as Venom. I didn't like him as Venom because I think that like as just like the comic book character of Eddie Brock, he's just completely like the opposite. Like I just don't see him as an Eddie Brock, but then you see Tom Hardy like as a guy who actually is like an Eddie Brock. So yeah, really that's the main positive with this movie, and like all the moments that are really good are like between Venom and Tom Hardy. To be honest, like those are really the only good moments, because like the villain in this movie and the villains in this movie, because Riot and Carlton Drake are just, I don't know if everyone else thinks this, but I just think they're terrible villains. I don't like the like I don't find Carlton Drake as like an interesting character, for one, and then for two, I also, same thing with Riot. I don't find him as an interesting character at all. But also at the end, whenever they just fight and there's like this big blob of like black shit, you just can't tell what the fuck is going on. But anyway, they definitely fixed the problem in Let There Be Carnage with a way better symbiote to fight against Venom with Carnage. Because Riot would have been better as like, just like say the symbiotes all just teamed up. That would have been better if he would have just been like, not even a guy you focus on. He's just in the background. That would have been what he would have been perfect for, because he's not a very good main villain, if you ask me. He's just one of those guys that you put in the background to look cool. And Tom Hardy has some interesting moments in this movie, and where he like jumps in the fish tank and eats like a fucking raw crab. Like he has some really like interesting moments and funny moments and all that shit. And I like Tom Hardy. He's honestly one of my favorite actors. So he's the plus to this movie, and he saves this movie from being like the worst comic book movie ever. This is just the movie on this list that I'm least likely to rewatch, and yeah. Coming in at number 11, you got The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And while Andrew Garfield is my least favorite of the live-action Spider-Man, I mean, all the other Spider-Man, like the other two, are really good, so just keep that in mind. But I still think that he's the best actor. Like, even though like Tobey Maguire like kills it like as in his role, he's just the best actor. There's emotional moments in this movie and in the first movie. You know, whenever Uncle Ben dies in the first movie, whenever Captain Stacy dies in the first movie, and then in this movie, whenever Gwen dies, he's really good at just like making you feel like sad just because he's crying. Like you're just like, and then there's the whole emotional story build up and all that shit, because like we know those characters. But yeah, he's just a really good actor, and even though, like I said, he's the worst Spider-Man in my opinion out of the live action ones, because like he's just like, I think he's the worst Peter Parker, for one, because he's just too cool. Like, even though like I believe him a little bit as Peter Parker, he's just the least believable Peter Parker to me. But like he's a cool Spider-Man. Like the Green Goblin is one of the main villains in this movie, along with Electro, and I think that Jamie Foxx as Electro is really good. And even though the like effects look kind of trash in this movie, and they fix it in No Way Home and all that stuff, I still kind of like him in this movie. But then you got Green Goblin at the end, and let's just be honest, it's terrible. It's not good. But the death of Gwen Stacy is still like gut punching or whatever, even though he's a terrible character or whatever, and I don't like him. Yeah, like I said, the death of Gwen though is actually gut punching though because of the acting for one. Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield are really good actors and actress. So yeah, it's just like not only that, they feel like real people and they're just like such. They're so good at acting, and then you have, like I said, Andrew Garfield giving that great performance whenever she dies, and then the chemistry that they have between each other is like Gwen is probably the best love interest out of all the Spider-Man movies, even though these might not be the best Spider-Man movies. She probably is the best love interest. And yeah, this movie has a good score and like good music and stuff. Cause Jamie Foxx, I'm pretty sure, helps with some of the music and stuff. Like it's good. I actually like a lot of the music in this movie. And yeah, that's probably one of the biggest positives to this movie is the music. But yeah, overall, this movie is just like a missed opportunity, and it had a lot of potential, and it just couldn't get there. They just didn't execute. Coming in at number 10, you got Amazing Spider-Man, the first one. So yeah, this movie's main villain is Dr. Connors as the Lizard. He's a pretty cool villain, but his motive is kind of like where he's trying to make everyone lizards and shit. It's kind of weird. I don't know. But other than that, I still think he's a cool villain. And then the whole sacrifice at the end with Captain Stacy is pretty sad to me actually. Nothing against Uncle Ben and the actor who played him, but the death of Captain Stacy actually hit me harder than the death of Uncle Ben because I just got more attached to Captain Stacy's character. But yeah, all the moments where like he's at going to dinner at Captain Stacy's house and all that stuff, I like that stuff. And I think it's cool, like just to see the dynamic of like him talking about Spider-Man, like he's trying to act like he's not Spider-Man, but he's like, hey man, Spider-Man's just trying to help the city, and he's like, nah man, he's a vigilante, and we must bring him down and all this stuff. It's just a great dynamic. I love it. And like I said, whenever Captain Stacy dies in this movie, it has stakes on the next movie because the last thing that Captain Stacy says whenever he dies is he's like, leave Gwen out of it. And basically he's saying if you're going to be Spider-Man, don't date Gwen. So, and then you see what happens in Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. She ends up dying because he was dating her and she was around, basically. She wanted to help him. That's what happened. She wanted to help him and then she died. So, excuse me. But that's why her death was so impactful because of this death and all that stuff. So yeah. But yeah, coming in at number 9, you got Spider-Man 3. Like I said, these may not be quality films, but I enjoy them. And like this movie, Spider-Man 3, I've rewatched this movie a lot. I grew up watching the Raimi trilogy. So like, you know, I was born in 2001. I'm 22 years old right now. So but like whenever I was a kid, bro, like despite the Raimi trilogy movies was coming out whenever I was like a little kid, and I was always watching these movies and shit. But yeah, Spider-Man 3, whenever I came out, I liked it a lot more than I do now because like I was just a kid and I saw Venom and Sandman and I was like, oh my god, this is the coolest fucking thing ever. It's got Venom. And then that's all I cared about. Like if I was a kid and Venom, the new Venom movie and Venom Let There Be Carnage came out, I would want to watch those all the fucking time. But yeah, the Bully Maguire moments in this movie, people hate them and think they're goofy and shit, which they are goofy, but and that's part of the reason why I like them, because they're hilarious and they fit with the whole Raimi campy tone that he put in there. And another thing too, like I said, they established this whole tone of campiness and all that shit, and then Peter is like this goofy nerd, like he wants to be that way. He doesn't give a fuck. Like he'll tell you he's a goofy nerd. He doesn't care. But like yeah, they've established this. So like whenever the jazz thing and the 70s look and all that shit comes out, and he's like gothic and shit, that just fits his character that they've established in all these movies. It may not be what it may not be great in what you enjoy, but it definitely fits what they've established. That's for sure. Yeah, and Thomas Hayden as Flynn Marco or Sandman is honestly the better villain in this movie. He's the good villain besides Green Goblin. But yeah, his villain is just good, and then like whenever you see him in No Way Home, it's a plus because god damn, my fucking voice is fucked up. But it's a plus because it's just like you like his character, and like he's not like a full villain in this movie. He's just kind of doing stuff for his daughter. So, and then like at the end of the movie, whenever he sees Spider Man, he's like, "Hey man, like I'm not even really trying to kill you for it. I'm just doing this shit for my daughter, my boy." And then he's like, "Oh okay, yeah, go on." But yeah, I love that little moment whenever Spider Man sees him and he flies away in the sand at the end. It's just like cool. And then yeah, that segues me into my next point with Harry. Like I said, I like the moments. That's probably my favorite part about this movie is the moments between Harry and Peter. Um, I just love whenever Harry is like trying to kill Peter, and then like at the end of the movie, he like figures like he tries to join him and stuff, but like and then there's the whole fight between Harry and Peter, and then he was like, "I kissed your girl, and her lips smelled like tasted like strawberries." Like I just love all that stuff, and like how Peter's being a complete dick, but like you're kind of with him a little bit, but then you're like, well, man, you're taking it a little bit far, though. Like, even though Harry did fuck up and do all that shit, like, you taking it way too far, my boy. You killed his dad, too. You gotta remember that. So, of course, like, if somebody killed my dad, bro, I'd be on your head, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's just all that moment, like, this movie has some good stuff in it and just such bad things. It's like such high highs and such low lows. And then you got Topher Grace just being a complete idiot as Eddie Brock, praying to God that praying to God that Peter Parker dies or some shit like that. A bunch of stupid stuff. It's it's dumb. They were literally peeling the Venom stuff back to show his face. Like, hey guys, we got Topher Grace in our movie, by the way, just so you know. It was stupid as fuck. Um, like I said, the Sam Raimi stuff in this movie is good, but you can tell that like he didn't want to do Venom, and yeah, you can definitely tell that he didn't want to do Venom. Like he somehow found a way to execute the Black Spider-Man stuff pretty decently. If you ask me, I enjoy all that stuff. That's my favorite part of the movie besides Harry and Sandman. Coming in at number 8, you got Venom: Let There Be Carnage. And yeah, this movie has Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy, and then Carnage. And yeah, it's really cool to see him because he's a good actor. So like whenever he acts like a psychopath, he actually feels like a psychopath. So yeah, and then his girl Shriek is like this girl who can yell really loud, and you know how like symbiotes are like they can't really take a lot of loud sounds, and basically it's a problem because like there's this weird dynamic between them. Like they're trying to be on the same sides, but every time Shriek yells, the symbiote gets fucked up. So like yeah, it's a cool dynamic. I liked how they added that in there. And yeah, this movie just does everything better than Venom 1. It takes everything that Venom 1 does and just does it in a better way. It's a little more over the top and funny and stupid in sometimes moments, but that can also make it more entertaining for people who aren't as into the movie. They can just laugh at the jokes, and that'll kind of put them back into the movie. But yeah, they kind of just do everything better in this movie, and that's why I put it above Spider-Man 3, Venom, all those movies that have Venom in it. I kind of think this is the best one in my opinion, and it's just so much fun seeing Venom fight against Carnage. Because like I said, I think Tom Hardy is like the best Venom we've gotten in live action. Like we haven't gotten any good Venoms, but like he's not a bad Venom to be honest. He's the best one we've gotten. And then yeah, the other movies with Venom just haven't been very good stuff. Let's just say that. If that makes sense. You guys don't even know what the fuck I just said. But yeah, this movie's just really rewatchable, and I love the carnage in this movie. I wish it was rated R so we could get like some carnage candy, like, you know what I'm saying? Just Venom goes all out, and not Venom, but Carnage just goes all out. Like in that prison scene, bro, we could have got Carnage just like slicing people's heads off and like their head rolling around and shit, like just a bunch of crazy shit, bro. It's Carnage, bro. But yeah, coming in at number 7, you got Spider-Man: Far From Home. And yeah, this movie's kind of funny. This movie might be the funniest Spider-Man movie besides like the Spider-Verse movies. Yeah, Mysterio is a cool villain, and like the Elementals are pretty cool. Like they could have executed the Elementals better and like made them how they actually were in the comics instead of just making them a fucking whatchamacallit hologram. Like that would have been way cooler if they would have actually been the Elementals. But anyway, the fact that they put them in there was cool enough to see them in there to me. And then the illusion sequences, you know, like with the train where Spider-Man gets hit by the train, it's just like brutal as fuck. And it's cool how he lured him there for one, but like the illusion sequences are just so cool. And like they just like whenever you get on like Snapchat or fucking whenever you get on TikTok is what I meant to say, not Snapchat. Whenever you get on TikTok, you see like memes and like shit like that and like videos and edits and shit where people have the like part where he's punching the wall and like just parts in this movie with illusions and stuff. It's just really cool animations and like CGI. How they did that was cool. The element of where he leaves him, Tony leaves Peter the glasses is very problematic, and I see why people really hate this movie and be put in last place or low on their list. I understand why it doesn't work for you. I can kind of push that to the side and just kind of ignore that and enjoy all the other stuff in the movie. But it is a very problematic in its thing, and it's a very big part of the movie. So like, yeah, I can see why you have a problem with it. But yeah, one of the best parts about this movie is how Mysterio is really smart, and he actually kind of wins in the end, even though Spider-Man takes him down and all that stuff. Coming in at number 6, you got Spider-Man 2. I really love the element of how like the I've said element so many times in this video of how the New Yorkers, they all come together and they like help Spider-Man after like he busts his ass to like stop that train and like save him. And like those people see that Spider-Man's been busting his ass for them. So like, and like I love that dynamic, you know. In like the first movie, they stand together and like, hey, Spider-Man, and all that shit. I love that, but they do it the best in this movie. Whenever they like pick him up, and then like the kid sees him without his mask on, he's like, oh, I won't tell anybody. And then they put the mask back on him. I love that shit. That shit's fucking great. It brings tears to your eyes. And while this movie is not a scary movie, there's some horror elements in this movie, like sprinkled throughout. Like Sam Raimi, of course, is famous for directing Evil Dead, and you know he's a really good horror director. So like the moments of like whenever Doctor Octopus is in the hospital in the little ER room and they're trying to like I don't know what the fuck they were trying to do to him, like cut the arms off him or some shit, and he just massacres the doctors all in that room. And there's just a bunch of moments in this movie where it's kind of just like it's not like a horror, but he did a good job of like making it cutthroat, you know what I'm saying? Whenever Harry finds out that Peter is Spider-Man, the one who, you know, he's the reason why his dad died or whatever, even though like he was not trying to kill him, he still was fighting him and he died. And that made Harry pissed. It was just a great moment, you know. And then he was like teaming up with Doc Ock for a couple seconds. He's like, "Hey man, can you get Peter Parker?" You know what I'm saying? And then yeah, Alfred Molina as Doc Ock is he's an iconic villain. Just a great villain. And the way that they like introduce his origin, showing how his wife died and all that stuff, and how he's just a scientist trying to make inventions, and then he like just totally fucked up. Like it's great stuff, man. Yeah, overall, this movie's really good. I just think this movie's biggest weakness and the thing that brings it this low on the list is the part where Peter just loses his powers and like out of nowhere, and it's just kind of like for no reason, like at all. And it's like I know that's kind of like I don't know if that's how they do it in the comics, like if it's just out of nowhere randomly, but like it's just like damn, like I don't know, but yeah, I think that's one of the things that kind of brings this down for me a little bit because that always bothers me whenever I watch this movie. I'm like, that's the best thing you could have did. Coming in at number 5, you got Spider-Man: No Way Home, and I remember seeing this movie in the theater. Everyone pretty much saw this movie in the theater because this was such a big movie. But yeah, whenever you saw this movie in the theater on opening night, I was there fucking Thursday night. Fuck Friday. I was there on Thursday night at midnight with my brother, and we was in there watching that movie. And I remember, bro, he went to go to the bathroom right whenever it got revealed that Toby and Andrew were in the movie. And it was the funniest shit. And then yeah, he just went to the bathroom all at the wrong moments. He went twice, and it was at the worst moments to go. But anyway, that's a funny little story. But just great fan service, you know, ooh ah, and in the motherfucking crowd whenever you're watching the movie on opening night. It was crazy as hell. Yeah, it was great because you got to see all three Spider-Man on film in the same movie. It was great because that was what 20 years in the making. Like it was like it's such payoff. It's like whenever Thanos snapped, just a big moment whenever Infinity War comes out because it's just such payoff. We've been building up to that for like 10 years. In this movie, we've been building up to that in 20 years. Yeah, the biggest flaw of this movie though is how Doctor Strange he literally just carelessly does the spell on Spider-Man, not even thinking about the ramifications. But yeah, it all just builds up to a really satisfying final battle though. And we get to see all the bad guys fight against the three Spider-Man, and they have funny moments, and you see them jump off, and they're all flying through the air together. It's fucking great. It like watching it for the first time is always the best, but it's a rewatchable movie. Yeah, like whenever Peter makes the sacrifice at the end, um, to make everybody forget about him, I love that shit because like he's sacrificing his happiness for the greater good of others, and that just like that's part of what Spider-Man and superheroes have to do. Like, that's the shitty part of being a superhero is you have to make sacrifices. And then you got the GOAT William Dafoe returning as with his Oscar-worthy like performance, bro. The way this guy just switches between characters is fucking insane. And you see him slowly change into the Green Goblin, and they're in the room with Aunt May, and they're all in the apartment, and like he's in their fucking safe place, and you're just like, oh fuck, like, because it's already too late by the time you realize, because he's already like attacking and shit, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, he's one of the greatest actors of all time, William Dafoe, giving a fucking amazing performance. Coming in at number 4, man, these 5 are just fucking amazing. But yeah, number 4, you got Into the Spider-Verse. The dynamic between Miles and Uncle Aaron is good, like, and it's mainly good because Uncle Aaron is just like one of my favorite characters in like all of these movies, and like, you know, whenever spoiler alert for these movies, by the way, as I've been spoiling everything. But yeah, like whenever he comes back in Spider-Verse, across the Spider-Verse, like he's not dead. I mean, he's not alive. He just comes back from another multiverse, from another universe. It's just like, oh shit, Uncle Aaron's back. Let's go. But yeah, Uncle Aaron, really good character. You know, the whole moments of him bonding with Miles in the subway doing graffiti. You know, he's the cool uncle that, you know, a lot of us have had. And you just hang out with your cool uncle and you get away. And he doesn't know that his uncle is the Prowler. And it's fucking great whenever you find out that he's the Prowler. It's just like, and that's made the Prowler one of my favorite villains. And then you got Peter B. Parker as like this mentor, and it's really great because it's really sad whenever you see the actual Peter Parker of uh, Miles's universe die. You're just like, it's gut punching because like even if you don't even know the guy, he's still Spider Man, and if you've grown up loving Spider Man like me, you're just like, damn, like you, what the fuck. But yeah, this movie is just it's great, man. It's got really good music and a really good score, and just the animation in this movie is amazing. It's top tier, you know, like the fucking Kingpin is just a great villain. It's got an amazing voice cast, like just top tier actors to like play the right roles for the right voices is what I meant to say. Like they have the right voices. And it's just a really like good idea because this was before No Way Home and like a lot of the multiverse craze like really kicked in. Like there was like multiverse stuff going on during this time, but like it wasn't like as good as this. Like this was the best thing to come out. Really, it still is the best thing to come out. But like, yeah, this was really before like the multiverse craze really started. But it's just a good idea, and especially for Spider-Man, like the way that the comics are, like a lot of people probably didn't even know why the fuck there's so many different versions of Spider-Man if they've seen it. Like I always wondered that as a kid, and this movie kind of explains that a lot better because I always wondered why the fuck is there so many versions of Spider-Man. Like I see like Spider-Woman and shit before. But yeah, this movie is just really rewatchable, and it's cool seeing all the Spider-Man and woman on screen together for the first time because this is the first time. This is before No Way Home happened, so this is the first time we ever got to see all the Spider-Man, multiple Spider people come on screen in a movie. Coming in at number 3, you got Sam Raimi's masterpiece, the original Spider-Man. And yeah, honestly, like before this movie would have came out, like if I was alive during that time and you told me that Sam Raimi would be directing Spider-Man, I probably would be like, I don't know, because I'm pretty sure this was his first comic book movie, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, like I would be like, I don't know if Sam Raimi could do a Spider-Man movie, because like he's like a horror guy for me usually, and then he just executes it perfectly and like just a really good way to make an origin story where it's like kind of campy. Yeah, because Spider-Man is just a really campy character anyways. And then, yeah, you got William Dafoe, like I said, one of the greatest actors of all time, playing one of the greatest villains of all time. And he's just really menacing. He's probably the most menacing Spider-Man villain of all time. He's just so, like, the way that he just takes the bus of fucking kids and or the whatever that's called, tram, is that what it is? He just holds it by his hand and he's like, hey, I will drop these motherfuckers, Spider-Man, do not test me. And then he's holding up Mary Jane, he's like, you gotta pick one, and then he just drops both of them. It's like crazy shit that Green Goblin does. And yeah, Tobey Maguire at the time was probably the best guy you could pick to play Peter in Spider-Man because he's just like he's so good at being the nerd, but you like him, but he's still kind of like a nerd. But like you feel sorry for him because you don't want people to be a dick to him. And yeah, Uncle Ben, whenever he dies in this movie, that might be the most impactful death of any comic book movie ever, honestly, if you ask me. It just like the way that they execute it with Sam Raimi, he builds up this thing of like how Peter is kind of just like, Uncle Ben, like whatever, I'm tired of you trying to lecture me and shit. Let me go over here and lie to you. And like Peter lies to him, tells him he's going to the library. Really, he goes to uh, make some money at this fucking wrestling thing or whatever. And he Peter lies to him. He's like doing all this dumb shit, like push him away, and then he dies, and it's just like so gut wrenching because he's like, oh man, like the last thing I did was yell at you and lie to you. It makes you see why Peter would want to become Spider-Man. And yeah, it's like I said, a really good third act with with Green Goblin. They kick the shit out of each other. Green Goblin ends up dying, and it has stakes on the next movies with Harry, and it really pays off really good, mainly in the next movie. But yeah, and then also this movie is just like I said, probably one of the greatest scores ever comes out of this movie. So yeah, coming in at number 2, you got Spider-Man: Homecoming. Yeah, out of all the live action Spider-Man, my favorite personally is Tom Holland. Um, I think that he kind of just like, not only is he young, but like he's really good as Peter too, and he's a good Spider-Man too. Like I just think that he's my favorite personally, but I also really I like the other two also. So it don't I think they're all like almost as good as each other. So there's that. And yeah, even though I was just saying that William Dafoe is one of the greatest villains of all time, and he's like one of the greatest actors of all time, my favorite villain is actually in the Spider-Verse is actually the Vulture, Michael Keaton's Vulture. I love the way that the twist pays off in this movie whenever he's just dating Liz, because like I said, Liz is my favorite love interest out of all the Spider-Man movies, to be honest, besides Gwen. Um, so yeah, you got the way that he's been dating her and stuff, and you wanted him to get with Liz, and then you figure out at the end of the movie, just whenever they started getting close with each other, that her father is the Vulture. It's Michael Keaton, and then it's just like one of those weird moments whenever he's riding in the car with him, and he's just like, they're like talking in like, not third person, but they're trying to keep it low key. Like, he knows that he's Spider-Man, and he knows that he's the Vulture. So it's just like, alright, they know each other's secrets. So, and it's just a great moment. But yeah, I don't know if that's a hot take though. If I feel like that's a hot take, saying that I think that Liz is a better love interest than Zendaya's MJ. But I honestly am into Liz more. So, and yeah, just the element of Peter being in high school while trying to be a superhero is executed really well in this film, where he's like going on a field trip and he's like, wait guys, I gotta, go do something real quick, and then he goes to put on his costume, and then he goes to save them all. But yeah, coming in at number 1 is actually a huge surprise, because I never thought that they would be able to top any of these movies, especially the first Spider-Verse movie is Across the Spider-Verse. I've given it a lot of time, and like whenever I first got done watching this movie, I was thinking maybe I'm gonna put Spider-Man: Homecoming above it, just because this movie just came out. But after a lot of thoughts, and I've thought a lot about this now, Across the Spider-Verse is my number 1, and I think that Across the Spider-Verse might be the greatest animated movie of all time. Now, like I said, this movie just came out, but what they do in this movie is fucking amazing. Not only just in the animated sense, and the score is amazing, the animation is amazing, the characters are amazing, the story is amazing. This movie, the payoff is amazing. If you are a Spider-Man fan and you wanted to see Spider-Man 99, Spider-Woman, all these characters, fucking, what's it called? Scarlet Spider. Like, all these characters that you never even dreamed of seeing in a movie or even, like, on a show or some shit, like, they're fucking on here, bro. They have a moment whenever, like, it's honestly completely, like, useless and pointless to put it in there, but they did it, and whenever it happens, people are like, oh my god, there's the fucking PS4 Spider-Man, PlayStation Spider-Man. That's literally what, like, just shit like that. Like, so many cool-ass moments. And then you got Spider-Man 99 in here. The dynamic between him and Miles is amazing. Like, I swear, I was smiling and I was crying at the exact same time. I was like, oh my god, like, fuck you, but, like, I'm with you because I don't want you to destroy the multiverse, but, like, fuck you at the same time, because he was just trying to save his friends. Like, And then the payoff from Into the Spider-Verse from this movie is so great. And like how it has, like, the last movie, how they just fucked up whenever they went into the multiverse and they did all that shit, and it fucked up all this stuff into this movie. And yeah, really, like I said, with Spider-Man 99, it's not even just his character. Really, this whole movie, I was just like smiling and crying at the same time. Because like I'm such a big Spider-Man fan. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero besides Batman, but Spider-Man's my number one, bro. It's undoubtedly Spider-Man. So this whole movie was just fan service payoff for me the whole time. It was just great. And like I said, I loved seeing all the versions of Spider-Man. I fucking love Spider-Woman. Her fucking motorcycle. I don't know what it is. I love Spider-Woman. And Spider-Man 99 was dope too, but like it's just I love all the versions of Spider-Man and Spider-Woman that we've gotten. It's amazing. And then you got the Spot. Even though Kingpin was a good villain, the Spot is an even better villain to me. And he's more powerful, and it's like there's more stakes because you feel like there's more tension because you feel like he's gonna like fuck up the whole multiverse whenever he figures out how to actually use his powers. And yeah, I just love like all the lore that they established with like the time travel and like all the Spider-Man and Woman like into the Spider-Verse in that movie. But they expand on it in this movie even more. And then like I said, they have like all these gadgets and shit that like they put on their wrist, and like it's like a time travel watch, and it's like fucking dope as hell. There's like so many cool things like that, little things that they added in here that was just dope as fuck. Yeah, this movie just has some absolutely crazy twists and turns. Like I said, there's a part in the end where Miles figures out that like he's running away from all the spider people because he wants to save his dad, and he figures out that he he went to the wrong universe. Like that shit's fucking crazy. Whenever you're in the movie and you're watching, you're like, wait, he's in the wrong universe the whole time. Like he's just been here going around doing the wrong thing for nothing. And then you figure out that. So you're sitting here, you're like, wait, where's Miles? Where's this person? Where's that person? Wait, what's gonna happen now? Wait, you're just sitting here, you have so many questions in your mind, and then all of a sudden Uncle Aaron walks through the door, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you're just like, what's gonna happen now? Like I said, you're just sitting here thinking you do not know what is about to happen, and then they go outside and they start talking, and then all of a sudden Uncle Aaron knocks him out or some shit and puts him on a punching bag like Peter B. Parker was in the first movie. But man, it's so crazy. Whenever he first saw Miles, whenever he walked through the door, he was like, hey man, where's your dreads or whatever, or your braids? That's what he said, your braids. Did you cut them? And then I was sitting there, I was like, what? It was crazy as fuck whenever he figured out that Miles walked in. Because whenever the Prowler walked in, I pretty much knew like right away. I'm like, wait a second, Miles is the fucking Prowler? Because like they were setting it up a little bit in Into the Spider-Verse, but I'm not gonna be honest. I'm a dumbass. I don't see shit like that coming. So whenever they did it and I didn't see it coming, it just came out of nowhere for me, and it paid off so fucking good. I was sitting there, I jumped up in my seat, and I was like cheering and shit. It was just a great moment. I love, because like I said, the Prowler is like my favorite Spider-Man villain, or one of them, like my top 3 Spider-Man villain for sure. So whenever I figured out that Miles was him, it was just great. It was so fucking cool. And then the way that they ended it, it was like Infinity War. You're like, wait, what's gonna happen now? Like obviously, oh my gosh, this movie was just great, bro. It was great. And I'm still sitting here with thoughts from... Now I'm sitting here with my thoughts from Into the Spider-Verse. I'm sitting there. There's no way they're going to be able to top Across the Spider-Verse. But I said that last time about Into the Spider-Verse. So, I don't know. If anybody can do it, it's the people that made these 2 movies. So, go ahead. Make another one, bro. it's just, this movie was great, bro. So yeah, that was my list. It was a long ass video, but I love Spider-Man. I got a lot to say about this shit. So yeah, G Safe, listen to my music, Kyle G. You already know the motherfucking deal. I'm out.